right, class, it's time to whip out your notebooks and your pens because today we're learning about BTS solo performances and I'm so excited. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Peachy. I'm a full-time content creator. I'm also a baby army and I love everything amazing, which includes your cute face. Today I am so excited because a couple of you suggested this Boracity video, and of course we love Boracity on this channel. Their videos are super informative. I'll have them linked down below so you can go check them out because they are so freaking awesome at breaking down BTS stuff, especially as a baby army. They've helped me out a lot. So today we're going to be checking out their video called BTS Solo Performances, Favoritism or Proper Strategy. I think this video is going to be super important to me right now because if you guys are following the channel, I've kind of dived into each BTS's members solo stuff as of recently, and I'm officially caught up on all of the members. But I have noticed while watching is that they've all done such different things. You know, some have done albums all in English, some have done albums completely in mostly in Korean and a little bit in English. Some do different styles, some promote differently, and I'm just so excited to learn about it because as a baby army, I'm so caught off guard. There's a lot of things I don't know and a lot of things I just want to be included in. So honestly, I'm so freaking excited. I know that so far, I believe a couple of the members have only dropped like one solo project for themselves, right? Like Jin, JK, and Jimin are the ones I know for sure that maybe have only dropped one solo album, and then they kind of just went off to the military. So I don't know if they're planning on doing big solo stuff when they come back or if it's going to be a lot of group energy, but we got all the time in the world to wonder that. So honestly, let's just get into it. Without further ado, here is the BTS solo promotions, favoritism or proper strategy first time reaction.
BTS members have debuted as solo artists. Let's analyze why their projects are also different.
Who was the last to debut as a solo artist? Was it Jungkook? I feel like it was Jimin, right? Because he did it when he was off in the military, I believe.
It's not only about the different genres and sounds, it's also about the differences in the style of promotions, target audiences, and results. Because this is the reality. A BTS member had a global tour, but another member had one concert at a festival. Another member only had one small venue concert, and another member didn't have any concerts. A BTS member had 3 physical albums, but another member only had 2. Another member only had 1. Another member only had 1 CD with no photo cards, stickers, and other things the other albums got.
Whoa, I never realized how vastly different all of their strategies were. Also, J-Hope had a world tour just for himself. Good for you, J-Hope. That's so freaking cool.
But another member didn't get a physical album that charts could count when he first debuted. A BTS member had promotions in the US, the UK, and South Korea. But another member only promoted in the US and Korea. Another member promoted in Korea and Japan. And another member barely did any promotions. A BTS member debuted a #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and his song was the #1 song worldwide for weeks on a row. But another member only debuted a #1 on the Hot 100. Another member almost entered the top 50, but another only entered the top 100. When you phrase things like this, conflict awaits.
Yeah.
Fans complain about unequal support by the label, unequal support by fans, and of course, unequal result.
I feel like Big Hit lets them choose how they want to promote. Like they probably give them like advice on how they should do it, but at the end of the day, I feel like they're all kind of doing what they want to do. Like for some reason, SUGA performing at a concert in a festival feels so SUGA. Like that just feels like what you would do. I don't see SUGA like having a world tour for himself. Well, maybe, I don't know. That kind of shook me that J-Hope did that.
But I think these comparisons are unfair and at this point malicious, because if you really think about the intention of each project, you can see the different visions the BTS members had for their solo music careers. If you really want to measure promotion efforts and success, let's talk about how each promotion schedule helped gain the attention of their specific target audiences. And let's also realize that some promotions are actually counterproductive for some members but beneficial for others. You may think I'm crazy, but sometimes a #1 on the US can hurt an album's chances to be consumed by certain audiences. Of course, other times it can help the project, but it all comes down to the artist's vision and target audience. So I'll try to explain why I don't think any BTS member, song, or album has been sabotaged by Big Hit, HYBE, ARMY, and much less BTS. After analyzing every single piece of promotion, I actually think that every promotion decision has been smart and effective.
Yeah, I feel like if they know their target audiences, they're doing what they know their audiences will like.
The member who started the BTS solo era was J-Hope. Like the other members part of the rap line, J-Hope released his first solo project as a mixtape.
I thought that RM though released, maybe it was just a solo song, because I'm also watching the Rise of Bangtan series, and I'm at the part where he releases his first song and all his members are like supporting him. But maybe this is like solo debut where everybody kind of released solo stuff around the same time.
His official solo debut. Hope World and the other solo mixtapes did not have official promotions, but they were shared on social media by Big Hit. These type of projects were side projects shared for ARMYs as a gift or as extra free music. This is important to highlight so we can understand why some BTS members do certain promotions and not others. Confused ARMYs and J-Hope solo stands can say that J-Hope's Jack in the Box debut album was sabotaged by Big Hit and HYBE because it was released with no physical versions and no performances in Western TV shows or K-pop shows. These three things are expected in a regular BTS promotion schedule.
But in regular BTS promotion, I was gonna say, we all know that BTS doesn't really follow the same path as everybody else, but this is things that they've always done. But that's different though. It's like, this is what they do as a group. Like J-Hope had to kind of do something different because he's not promoting as a group. He's promoting as himself.
This is J-Hope's solo career. So look at what he did do and conclude what new audience he wanted to attract. For what I can see, J-Hope wants his debut album Jack in the Box to be a long-lasting record listened to not only by ARMYs but also by global fans of hip-hop. People who are actually interested in hip-hop as a genre.
J-Hope. He got ambitions to go worldwide.
And J-Hope is not necessarily going to attract this specific audience by performing on K-pop TV shows or American TV shows like Jimmy Fallon and Good Morning America, watched by an older American demographic. Actually, if he did, he will probably lose the specific audience he's trying to attract. For what I can see, he is not interested in the general public listening to the Billboard Hot 100 songs. He prefers promoting to an audience interested in hip-hop no matter the language. This is a tricky audience to target, but I think every decision he made was perfect. To start, J-Hope was the first and only BTS member to launch his album with a listening party. If you pay attention to the artists he invited, you can see that these are mostly indie hip-hop artists.
That is so cool and clever. I didn't even know listening parties were like a thing, like on a professional level. I thought it's like you come bring your friends over and all listen to the same album and have some snacks and that's it. That is so smart. But yeah, it's true. I feel like J-Hope really cares more about like actually sharing his passion with other people who are passionate about his style of music, like J. Cole, and stuff like that. So that is so interesting. The thing that they said about sorry, what are Boracity's pronouns? I would love to know their pronouns. I'm just going to stick to they, them, but let me know. I love when they said like J-Hope, now because I spoke. Oh, if he only promoted on Jimmy Fallon, he would have attracted like an older audience. I didn't even think about that. It's so true. Like a little bit of the older gen still watches those talk shows. Not going to lie, I feel like talk shows are kind of on the way out. Might be a hot take because of podcasts and stuff like that. So I can see why. That makes a lot of sense.
Not mainstream, but they are respected in the South Korean hip-hop and alternative music scenes. This listening party sets the tone for the rest of his solo promotions. J-Hope's debut solo performance was as a headliner in Lollapalooza 2022 in Chicago. His concert had an audience of over 100,000 people, including ARMYs, the general public, and of course, curious hip-hop fans. This strategy was extremely successful because after the event, there were a lot of hip-hop fans listening to the music of a BTS member for the first time, whether in person or online. This event also gave J-Hope the opportunity to meet and then record a song with the artist who inspired his name, J. Cole. This collaboration and his concert at Lollapalooza gave him an attractive image to this specific audience, the type of audience who prefers simple, individual, or one-on-one conversations with no audience and a minimalistic or improvised backstage set. These are the only type of interviews he did, and it was intentional, in my opinion. The only exception was his interview at the seasons, but this is also very strategic because this is not a K-pop show watched by K-pop fans. Unlike K-pop shows, the seasons has long interviews with no rehearsed answers by idols doing aegyo and an ending fairy and performing a choreography with playback. For this same reason, the interviewees, the performances, and the audience watching the show are different. Thanks to this, J-Hope has the freedom to do a more personal performance he wouldn't be able to do on a K-pop TV show. The last thing to note about J-Hope's solo debut is the pace of promotions. He didn't do every interview and performance the first 2 weeks of the album release. This could put his Billboard and Korean charts positions in risk, but that's okay because that was not his goal. He actually performed in Lollapalooza 2 weeks after his album release, and he continued with promotions with months in between each promo. Almost 5 months after the release of the album, he performed at the 2022 Mama, which let him do a unique stage with no choreography.
What?
Then, 6 months after his debut, J-Hope performs at Times Square New Year's Eve. 7 months after his debut, he releases and promotes his J-Hope in the Box documentary on Disney Plus and has an interview on a popular YouTube channel. 9 months after the
Know that documentary exists. I didn't know so many of these things. Like, I really cannot wait to start diving into each of the members' solo stuff even more, because as of right now, I've only heard the one J-Hope song with J. Cole. The name is slipping me right now, but yo, this guy was doing so much. Oh my gosh.
Of his album, he performs and has an interview on the seasons. As you can see,
cute.
the promotions are focusing on longevity more than on day one success. So J-Hope's records reflect that. Here comes the biggest complaint. When J-Hope released Jack in the Box, the physical album did not come with a physical CD. They came with most small things you would get in a regular BTS physical album and a QR code to listen to the songs on the Weverse Albums app. This code replaced the CD, and for that, it did not count on Western charts like Billboard. Since this was the first time BTS did this and the Weverse Albums app is a new app by Hype, people accused Hype of affecting J-Hope's debut numbers, of purposefully sabotaging him just to promote their streaming app.
I mean, I can see why people felt like that, because yeah, that would feel kind of weird. There's a couple celebrities in the westernized world that have done weird stuff like that. Like, I think it was U2. Like, they randomly downloaded their song on like everybody's new iPhones, and nobody consented to having that U2 song downloaded, and it definitely hindered U2, I think, for a long time. You know, like, to force people to listen to your music. So it's kind of like forcing people to download the Weverse app. I literally just downloaded the Weverse app for the first time ever because I'm watching In the Soup. I even bought my own jelly, okay? And the Weverse app was a little confusing for somebody like me. Leave me alone. But yeah, that I can see why people thought that was hindering. I mean, it's also brave in the other sense because you're trying something new and you don't know what's going to stick as an artist. You have to take risks.
But again, look at J-Hope's overall promotions. Every interview or performance was far apart. This doesn't mean that the promotions are bad. Actually, these type of promotions are very common with Western artists because they are less exhausting for both the artist and the audience, and it can improve longevity. It's true that he released his debut album almost exclusively on digital platforms, but 6 months later, he released a well-produced vinyl record, and now...
Ooh, I'm always asking if like K-pop idols, I know he's not just K-pop, okay, but like K-idols release vinyls. I didn't know this came on vinyl. And that kind of really suits into the whole hip-hop flair of his style too.
More than a year after the debut week, he released physical albums that count toward the Billboard charts. These are the type of promotions you have when you want your album to be discovered and remembered by fans time and time again over the years, not just the first 2 weeks.
Look at his members unboxing his album. The way they support each other is so cute. Also, these two be looking too good. Can we have a Jungkook mullet era back, please?
By fans time and time again over the years, not just the first 2 weeks.
So
this helps
cute.
with longevity and helps his desired audience, hip-hop listeners, have multiple chances of discovering his
song
music.
is that?
The unique performances and simple interviews that will be discovered will not disappoint this audience because these are the type of performances and interviews they already enjoy. So the results successfully match the promotions. Next, we have Jin's
That's
solo
my
debut single,
favorite
The Astronaut, which he
song.
released as a See You Later song before going to the military.
Oh
The
my
biggest complaint I've seen about Jin's
God.
debut is from solo stans saying that this is not a proper debut because most members had album debuts, but Jin only had a single.
And that's all he needed. It captivated me. That's all he needed. The astronaut is on repeat every
The
day.
assumption is not that Jin decided to release a single, but that HYBE and even BTS are at fault because Jin said that he wanted to go to the military earlier during the summer, right after the end of the Proof promotions in June.
What's
Therefore,
Proof?
according to some people, Jin was forced by the other BTS members and their label to wait until October for their unexpected Busan concert. So he had no choice other than to go to the military on the winter and quickly release The Astronaut after being busy with everything. This gave him only days to promote his song, so there were no interviews in America and no music shows in Korea. He only performed as a guest artist in Coldplay's
What?
concerts in Argentina.
So I've seen this performance, but I didn't know that was the only time he's performed this song. And that was like basically the only promotion that he did for The Astronaut, because The Astronaut's huge. Like, it did so well. Good job, Army, for supporting Jin like that. But that's crazy.
However, you don't need to be a genius to realize that The Astronaut was not made for the general public's consumption. Like Jin said multiple
It's
times,
just for
he wanted to
ARMY.
make one song for armies before going to the military. He talked to Chris Martin from Coldplay about the kind of message he wanted to transmit, and Chris Martin produced the song specifically for Jin. This was not meant to be an official debut with a non-army audience in mind. This doesn't mean that it was an abandoned project. The Astronaut is Jin's official debut single and had 2 physical album versions, a music.
I need that. Is that still
The
available?
Astronaut is Jin's official debut single and had
Oh my God. So Space really scares me, but these albums are beautiful. I need them both. I need them both. Send it to me now. I'm kidding. I don't have a P.O. box.
2 physical
Sag.
album versions, a music
buy
video, a lyric video, a live stadium performance, official merchandise, and even a show of 4 episodes with a vlog style. He
What is that? That's not Run Jin. What is that?
also had 5 interviews, 1 by himself, 1 with SUGA, and 3 in relaxed, non-serious settings. 2 for
I can't wait to start watching Suga's show. You guys keep telling me to watch it. I'm just balancing so many different things right now. But *ｓocиалсz, is that what it's called? *социалсz? I'm gonna start watching it for sure.
YouTube channels and 1 for TV. All of these interviews and shows helped him relax and comfortably talk in his native language about his life and future. So once again, this BTS solo project was successfully recognized by its desired audience. In this case, ARMY. We will have to wait for Jin's solo debut album after his military service to know what kind of music style and new audience he wants to
I
pursue.
can't wait.
The next BTS
love
member
that
to
song.
officially debut was RM with his album Indigo. What I've seen people saying is that ARMYs did not support RM's debut like we supported the other solo debuts. But once again,
What?
pay attention to the type of audience who is actually listening and RM is promoting to. As part of Indigo's promotions, RM accepted only 4 interviews, all of them in the format of a long conversation. These were for the Sex Sense show, hosted by an American interviewer he trusts, the P6 show, hosted by comedians who interview mostly hip-hop artists and who Namjoon is a fan of, *ｓoциалсz, hosted by his BTS bandmate SUGA, and KBS News, a pretty serious South Korean news
Wow,
show.
that is so RM though. Our delegate. Is that, yeah, delegate, right? He's just such a this is him, like long conversations, really thoroughly explaining his thoughts and his emotions. He's not like a funny type of promoter. Like he can be, but you can tell he appreciates more like intellectual conversations, which is so freaking hot about him. My favorite thing. And the thing I find the hottest about RM is just what an intellectual he is. Oh my God.
Namjoon chose these 4 shows wisely, and he made sure ARMYs knew why he really wanted to do these interviews only.
I'm holding the
Only
wine.
YouTube promotion for this, my whole album. Why? I've watched every show. When it comes to interview, what popped up in my mind first was you. I told the label that if I have to interview with somebody, it's gotta be Zach #1.
Brother, thank you. Your kindness and your trust means the world to me.
So,
Why does he like that Zach guy so much? Have I just not seen the good things about that guy? I don't know. I've seen weird stuff about him, but you
why
know.
these shows? If you watch these interviews, you
Unless
can
I'm thinking
quickly
of someone
realize
else.
he had his album and the album's production process as the main topics of conversation. Most interviewers don't ask RM meaningful questions. And if they do
Yes.
ask important questions about the music, they don't care or they don't understand the answer.
Literally, and then they make a joke about it, and then the artist is probably like, because I feel like in the westernized world, we've just gotten so numb. Like, literally, people are like, we know that you didn't write this song. I'm not saying this about RM. I just mean like in the Western world, it's like so many people, like manufactured pop stars and stuff over here. We're like, we know you don't even care about the production of the song. But that's not RM or the members of BTS, like, for that matter. Like, he, from day one, has poured his whole soul and all of his energy into everything that he creates. Every conversation that he has, he is such a thoroughly thought out man. Okay, you can't just have, joke conversations with them. So I appreciate that a lot about him.
Interviews have superficial conversations.
Do you guys like to dance?
Mario
Shows, do
Lopez.
you do a lot of dancing?
춤 추는 거 좋아하시죠?
Yeah, of course.
You guys are all together, but you didn't bring your girlfriends.
When someone knows and recognizes you, do you have to run away?
Do you ever get tired of each other?
The zoom ins onto RM are killing me. They're probably like, dude, that would be the worst. Like, actually being passionate about your music and your art, and people just being like, wow, is your hair dyed? And they're like, yes. And they're like, wow, do you like avocados? Like, oh my God, that would be awful.
Someone knows and recognizes you, do you have to run away?
Do you ever get tired of each other? Do you guys ever just...
So Namjoon chose people he knew would understand and care about his process of creating music. That was his priority. Indigo is not the general public's favorite type of album, and Namjoon knew that. So if there's a new type of audience he would attract after his official solo debut, it's the type of audience who likes indie, underground music. The type of audience who enjoys discovering unknown artists and who appreciates less mainstream genres like neo-soul, boom bap, urban, city pop, and folk. This is why the only performance he did for American media was for NPR's Tiny Desk concert series. The setting is more personal than most
He did a
mainstream
Tiny
shows, and a lot of
Desk?
enthusiastic music fans want to
I need to
discover
watch it.
non-mainstream artists as
After watching V's Tiny Desk performance, I know I'm missing out, okay? I need to get on RMs. Oh my God.
well as watch popular artists relax in this type of unplugged
Dula
acoustic
Peep.
setting. So a confident yet vulnerable performer and great lyricist like RM shines the most in this type of settings. This is why instead of having a worldwide tour, he chose to give one concert to an audience
Damn.
of only 200 people. This concert has some of the artists who featured in his album. The list of featured artists is also something not everyone can fully appreciate. Most of the songs part of Indigo have featured artists RM deeply admires. For his neo-soul song, the featured artist is the queen of neo-soul, Erykah Badu. For his funk song, the featured artist is Anderson
He
.Paak.
has a song
known for
with
his
Anderson
funky style.
.Paak? Oh my
RM
God.
also included artists he admires but aren't as worldwide famous, such as Kim Sa-wol and Cold. This album also has a lot of references to painters and their art pieces such as Yoon and Still Life. RM's debut album Indigo is for the music fans who care about meaning and art. This is why he chose to have only one physical version of his album instead of the normal two. This, alongside the fact that the physical versions took weeks to be delivered, affected his album sales numbers. But caring too much about that is crazy and shows that you're not paying attention to all the meaning of this project. RM purposefully left all the flashy photo cards, stickers, and photo shoots aside. Instead, he made his physical album some type of art piece. The pages are full of poems, graphic artwork, and photographs taken by RM. He also released a vinyl record months after the album debut,
Oh,
which,
that's
just like the
gorgeous.
physical
I need
album,
it. I need it.
includes RM's.
See, I might not have a CD player, but I have a record player and I need records for it. So now I'm adding 2 to my list to buy eventually. J-Hope's and RM's. That is gorgeous. But oh my God, this like is so amazing. This is why I love that they started releasing solo stuff, because there's still a group. We still get to have the photo cards for those of us that love collecting and love the whole like flashy stuff. But like we also get to appreciate their own personalities, and the like it's just so cool to see how different they all are. Cause like damn, if it wasn't for RM going solo, I would have never known that he's a photographer too. And oh my God, his music is just so freaking amazing. This album is gorgeous.
His third and last performance was at Dia Beacon, a museum in New York with no audience.
Whoa.
So of course most people won't get it. But the ones who can perceive and appreciate RM's passion in this album are the correct people listening and becoming fans. And by all the records RM was able to achieve with such an experimental album, I can say that his minimalistic yet meaningful promotions have been detected by the right people.
Okay, this is a shot in the dark, and I just want to guess. Has Boracity ever mentioned who their bias is? Because the way that they speak of RM, I don't know. I feel like maybe RM might be their bias, if they even have a bias. But I love the way that they spoke about RM. It was really nice.
And music fans who care about stuff like this. Once again, this BTS solo project was successfully
recognized. It's like they really understand him, you know?
Audience. The next
I haven't heard
BTS
this
member
song.
to officially debut was Jimin with his album
Oh.
Face. Face is a pop album, and its promotions were a little closer to a regular BTS promotion schedule. Jimin released teasers for the pre-release single Set Me Free Part 2 and the main single Like Crazy, which he released alongside the full album. This schedule is similar to J-Hope's schedule, which also included teasers and a pre-release single before the main single.
More
On
traditional.
the other hand, RM released teasers and music videos for a main single and a follow-up single, as well as a surprise music video for a B-side, which became an OST. It's important to note this difference.
What's OST again? Is that something that's like in a K-drama?
Because although some promotions like Jimin and J-Hope's are similar in some aspects, that doesn't mean that they are targeting the same audiences. Like I said, J-Hope's album was targeted at a global hip-hop audience, but Jimin's album was targeted at a global pop audience. And for that, promotions in a show like Jimmy Fallon work better. So Jimin was a main guest at the Tonight Show.
See, like RM and Jimmy Fallon, I feel like one-on-one, it wouldn't really work because Jimmy Fallon is a jokester. He's respectful, but he's a jokester. But Jimin is all jokes all day too. So these two actually really do work together. Like I feel like Jimin, J-Hope. Who else? I don't know. Jimin and J-Hope would be good to be on Jimmy Fallon. Probably another one, but those two for sure.
Starring Jimmy Fallon, where he had an interview and performed his main single. We also need to highlight that Jimin's interview was mostly in English, so he had to practice most of his answers since he doesn't dominate the language. But this decision of taking the challenge of speaking English made sense since Jimin's main single being promoted in America was the English version of Like Crazy, not the original Korean version. This is also why he performed the English version at the Jimmy Fallon show. Other BTS member will later also attend the Jimmy Fallon show, but his choices will be the complete opposite of Jimin's because his target audience is different. The only other promotion Jimin did for America was a day in the life style of interview for both. Then he started the Korean TV promotions. Like I mentioned, K-pop shows have more superficial interviews and flashy performances, but Jimin's pop songs and difficult choreographies shine the most in this type of settings.
He looks
J-Hope's
so
Jack in the Box
good there. Oh my
performances
God.
don't have choreographies, so they work best in a hip-hop show than in a K-pop show. To still demonstrate a more vulnerable and casual side, Jimin had a lengthy interview at SBS Radio, as well as an interview and performance of a jazz version of Like Crazy in the show Limousine Service. These interviews were not as complicated as RM's interviews, but they were still introspective and personal enough to explain the meaning of his pop album Face in an accessible way to global audiences. As expected, Jimin also went to SUGA's show Sutrita. Like Jin and RM, Jimin made a video for a popular YouTube channel, and like Jin, Jimin released 2 physical versions of his album. Finally, Jimin was the first member to release remixes of his main single and to have video calls with fans.
Video calls? Did any of you get on a video call with Jimin? I like that oh my god, their albums just look like, I feel like they just suit them so well. Do y'all have every single BTS album? I know there's a couple of y'all out there that must be collecting every single album. I know it. Oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna end up collecting everybody's. I would love that, but I feel like you need to have money.
However, many complained that all of these promotions ended too fast because only 2 weeks after, SUGA started promoting his debut album. While I do agree that Phase felt like a very short era, I don't really see what else he could have done. Actually, Jimin did more promotions than any other member up until this point. It just all went
Wait, but why are they not allowed to promote their own albums when their other members are promoting stuff? Like, is that where it gets sticky and it gets competitive? Because I feel like you can, why not? Like, just promote and then like promote each other's stuff while you're at it.
really fast because SUGA had a tour planned, so he had no choice other than releasing his album then. SUGA also couldn't have his tour later because his military enlistment date was approaching fast. So it was literally then or never. Still though, SUGA's album and type of promotions are very different to Jimin's album and promotions. And if there's any new audiences listening to them for the first time, they won't be the same audiences. I also think it's even crazier to put Jimin and SUGA against each other and compare their promotions when this opportunity gave us a lot of really cool promotion crossovers. I still understand, however, that the Phase era was a little frustrating because since it had some promotions in America, it had success in America, and the American media did not like that. I have a whole video about this problem, but in a few words, Jimin's quote-unquote mistake was not paying for radio and playlisting in streaming platforms, which is illegal and BTS would never. So the sabotage by American media was hard. But again, this has nothing to do with ARMY.
Is that confirmed tea? Because he wasn't paying for radio listens? Because it's illegal in that's not illegal out here to pay for. That's basically like paying for views. Like if I went out to like somewhere and paid for like 1,000 views, like that's crazy.
His efforts, Hive's efforts, and much less Jimin's efforts. Jimin's schedule was precise, effective, and more than enough. Other complaints appeared when Jungkook had his solo debut, because it looked like he was also promoting for a global pop audience, but he had a wider variety of global promotions. However, I actually believe Jimin and Jungkook's target pop audiences were completely different.
They are. Jimin's is more like, I don't know. It's more like pop, and Jungkook's is more like, I don't know how to describe it. It's more like sexy pop, and Jimin's is more like hype dance pop. Yeah, Jungkook is more sexy pop. I wouldn't even know if I would have considered Jungkook pop. I guess he is,
Talk
though.
about Jungkook's debut later, but Jimin's pop style and his new audience that likes songs like By Crazy may crossover with the audiences
so
that like
much
these
I need to
popular
listen
songs
to.
by Dua Lipa and Troye Sivan. I know the sound of these songs are not that similar, but I'm just trying to paint a picture. These type of pop songs have a stronger feminine and glamorous element.
Yes.
And they have this disco, house, synth style that is kind of trendy these days. To put it in BTS terms, both Boy With Love featuring Halsey and Butter featuring Megan Thee Stallion are pop songs, but the general public that likes Boy With Love featuring Halsey is not always the same general public that likes Butter featuring Megan Thee Stallion. Jimin's solo debut is a little closer to Boy With Love, while Jungkook's solo debut is a little closer to Butter. So
Boracity does it again. They're just so good at literally describing everything like so freaking well and giving so many examples to support their argument. Like literally when I'm at sexy pop, like that's exactly what I mean. Like Butter is sexy pop and then Boy With Love is more like cute pop. Oh my God, Boracity,
their
you
promotions are going to be different. Because Jimin's pop style is friendlier to the general public than the other solo debuts up until this point, like Crazy, Set Me Free Part 2, and the album Phase broke multiple records in mainstream charts and platforms like Billboard, Spotify, and Korean charts.
Get
the achievements of other members like J-Hope and RM are different different, because the promotions were different, because the target audiences were different. So once again, this BTS solo project was successfully recognized by its desired audience.
Yeah, I don't want to hear.
The next
No
BTS member to
spoilers.
officially debut was SUGA under his alternative alias Augusty with his album D-Day. SUGA's promotions were very unique, and it took me days to figure
So
out the
pretty.
promotion strategy and if there was even one, because although D-Day is a hip-hop album, the style of promotions were closer to promotions being done by experienced South Korean artists targeting a non-K-pop Korean demographic. To start, SUGA created and became the host of his own show, *ｓоциалс.
Oh, he started *sоциалсs to start promoting his album D-Day?
In which he interviews other South Korean artists.
I
while
love
having
this.
summer
I want to
drinks.
watch
The
it so
editing
bad.
style is dynamic.
Drop your favorite *sоциалсs episodes down below. I'm already planning on watching the Jungkook *sоциалсs episode, which I believe was episode 15 and 21, I think, for Jungkook's birthday week. But I would love to know just like your favorite *sоциалсs episodes.
And the conversations are very casual. So the show feels like a combination of the high production
They
of a
just
talk
eat
show
and
with the
drink.
casualness of a podcast. These shows where the artist is the interviewer are actually very common among South Korean artists who have been in the industry for a while. This is what I mean
Ooh.
by the typical Korean promotion by experienced artists. This is an actual promotion strategy. Weverse magazine has an article about it. So you may think that SUGA is going to adhere to this style of promotions. Well, yes, but not exactly. SUGA seemed comfortable continuing this Korean style of promotions, but he's going to direct it at a global audience. So even if his promotions don't always necessarily align with a global hip-hop audience or an indie audience or a pop audience, it will still bring the attention from different types of global audiences,
So
while at
true.
the same time giving itself a constant cleanup. So I think SUGA's promotion strategy was, if you're open-minded and you like me and my music, good for you. And if you don't, I don't care. I'm serious. You just need to look at everything he's done. First, SUGA released his pre-release single, People Part 2, which is a collaboration with IU, a beloved singer in South Korea who also has her own show. As part of the People Part 2 promotions, SUGA hosted his own radio show and was a guest star at IU's show a couple of days after the song release. Both the song and music video are very calm, and I can sense the Korean concept of Han, which is common in South Korean music and BTS songs like Spring Day. The music video even has an ending scene in which SUGA explains the sentiment of the song. So although it's hard for this song to be globally successful with the general public because it's not flashy, it doesn't have a choreography, and the explanation scene makes the video too long for me.
I have a sneeze. Excuse me.
Mainstream audiences, its message, style, and feature artists work with an older Korean demographic who doesn't necessarily listen to K-pop. While the promotion for People Part 2 is friendlier to this Korean audience, the main single Haegum is friendlier to a global audience.
I
The
wanna listen to
high-budget
it.
music video with
No
a strong
spoilers.
storyline immediately got the attention of global hip-hop, K-pop, and even pop audiences. Haegum is a hip-hop song with aggressive and fast-paced raps, which is what most people expect from an Augustine music video. So now SUGA has the attention of a South Korean audience and a global audience, but the third single, Amygdala, will focus on his biggest audience, ARMY. This song and music video are extremely personal to SUGA, and they explain a traumatic event for him. The song's lyrics and theme are painful and explicit, so the music video has an age restriction. While it doesn't
Really?
feel right for many ARMYs to use this
Oh my God, I need to
single as
watch
part of a
this.
promotion schedule with a strategy and a target audience in mind, I think this trilogy of videos can once again get the attention from people who are actually interested in the story SUGA is trying to tell. To truly get his music, you need to care enough to go out of your way to find his story, motives, and style of storytelling. This is why, just like J-Hope, SUGA decided to also have his own documentary on Disney+. He's
What the
basically
heck?
giving every audience the opportunity to understand him and his music, but if they don't, he won't go out of his way to convince anybody.
I need to
Just
watch
look at
these.
his promo activities. The documentary titled SUGA Road to D-Day follows SUGA on a trip around the world in the search of inspiration for his debut album, and it includes exclusive performances with a live band. Soon after, SUGA started his sold-out tour around the US and Asia. Like the rest of his album promotions, this tour felt very raw, personal, and real. He replaced the neat choreographies with performances with a guitar and a piano. So although SUGA being a guest at The Tonight Show and even playing a game with Jimmy Fallon may seem like attempts to go mainstream, SUGA decided to continue his casual style of promotions and refused to speak English or dance a choreography for mainstream audiences.
Yes!
He still put himself out there and accepted many interviews for different radios in America. But by choosing to speak his native Korean and have a translator on his international interviews, SUGA prioritized the meaning of his album and his true
For
personality.
real,
So
yeah.
only the ones who are
Why are you gonna force yourself to speak English if you're not comfortable doing it? Like, I obviously respect that Jimin did it. I feel like that's very Jimin-esque though, to be like, no, I'm gonna be in like America. I'm gonna try my best to speak English. I just feel like Jimin is such a wide-eyed baby boy, and he's like, I want people to understand me and be proud of me. But Suga's more of like a I don't give an F personality. Like, if they don't like me, good, you know, like that good for them. They're missing out. And I think that's super freaking awesome, and it's so badass. It suits him.
not bothered by reading subtitles will be the right new audience listening to his music. This BTS solo project was successfully recognized by its desired audience.
7 days a week,
The next
every
BTS
hour.
member to officially debut
Oh, they're
was
gonna cut my song off like that. Woo! I feel like they're just going through all the members so fast. I don't even have time to process information. I might just be sitting here catching flies in my mouth because I'm like, I'm learning. I'm sorry if I'm not talking as much this reaction. I'm actually just like, I'm so freaking happy with how much new information I'm intaking right now.
Jungkook with his single 7.
I feel like
up
he
until this
promoted like
point,
crazy.
all of the sounds and styles of the solo works have been pretty predictable. J-Hope has already released hip-hop music. Jin has already released pop rock music.
Pop
RM
rock?
has already released these experimental styles of music. Jimin has already released pop music. And SUGA's album is the third part of a project going on for years. But Jungkook's 7 came as a surprise to some armies because it's not something many would expect from BTS. To
Yeah.
start, 7 is a pop song of the UK garage genre, and it has two main versions. A clean version about wanting to spend every moment of every day with one's lover, and an explicit version which expresses a more sexual desire.
Literally, it blows my mind because I feel like when I listen to the song, because this is like literally the first song that introduced me to Jungkook, which then introduced me to BTS. I feel like if I did not listen to the inappropriate version first, I don't know if I would have been like so intrigued to listen to more. I was like, damn, this guy has a song where he's like, I want to be effing you out there. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is kind of, you know, it kind of hit me in the nasties. And then that made me want to listen to more of his music. The explicit version went mother effing crazy, okay? And I'm so glad he dropped it.
Combine this with Jungkook's commercials as a new ambassador for Calvin Klein and 7's promotional campaign, and you can see a clear new image of Jungkook as an artist. Both versions of the song feature the American rapper Latto, and the music video features the South Korean actress Han Soo-hee as Jungkook's
She's
girlfriend.
so
The
pretty.
promotions were focused on 3 countries: the US, the UK, and South Korea. In the US, Jungkook had an interview and performed 7 on the day of its release in New York as part of Good Morning America's summer concert series.
Damn.
He then had interviews with Spotify and radio shows like Odyssey Music, The Elvis Duran
He's so
Show, Sirius
cute.
XM, C100 New York, and iHeartRadio. In the UK, Jungkook had an interview and performed on BBC's The One Show and on BBC Radio 1's Live Lounge. In South Korea, Jungkook only performed in the K-pop music show in Kigayu, but that one performance was enough to make Jungkook the most awarded K-pop soloist this year across different K-pop shows. As well, Jungkook
that's
released
crazy.
3 EPs of remixes: the weekday version, the weekend version,
What?
and the ELSO remix. The physical CDs were produced by Hype America, and they did not have the regular style of a BTS single album like Jin's The Astronaut, for example. Instead, this CD was a simple CD, more common in the US. This is nothing new. BTS
Wait, you're telling me that CD only costs $2? And does it only have the song 7 on it? I'm so confused right now.
Has already released simple CDs, vinyls, and cassettes like this for their US singles. This style of promotions in the US helped Jungkook become the second BTS member to get a #1 song on the Hot 100 as a solo artist.
Yes,
In a few
kid.
words, Jungkook's promotion schedule included a lot of the activities artists do to make their song go mainstream. However, because the song is explicit, it caters a Western mainstream audience and it doesn't have a profound message like the other BTS solo projects, some people think it's too westernized and that it doesn't feel like a BTS song. While I do agree
Whoa.
that 7 is mainly targeted at Western audiences and the general public, why is this surprising or even
For
disappointing to some
reals.
fans?
If he never did that, we wouldn't be here right now. Understand that, okay? Like, I totally understand though. Like when your favorite artist does something different than you're used to, you're like, how dare you? You know, out here, the big term is like sellout. Like, oh my God, you're a sellout. You only care about money. But it's like, no, that's how you. Why don't you look at the positives? That's how you expand to a wider audience. People that would have never listened to Jungkook or BTS before. That single song streamlined me into being here today. Like that is, I'm so thankful that he kind of decided to do something different and you know, appeal to the Western audience. Like I'm so freaking thankful.
I think this is happening because sometimes armies don't truly accept BTS as their pop culture image. They see them through their wholesome, family-friendly, philosophical image only. And this can sound very nice, but I think this is the reason why 7 can come as a shock to them. And to be honest, I'm a little tired of this because it's like some armies want BTS to be the artist they want them to be, not the multidimensional artists BTS truly are and want to be recognized as.
That's literally so. I love Boracity when they start speaking facts and they're like, you know what? I'm sick of y'all. Like, period, Boracity. But it's so true. Like, if you truly love an artist in a group, then let them be an artist in a group. And if you want to support them, do it. And if not, like, then don't. Like, it's really not that hard. Like, so many people for creatives will just start to put them in a box because a creative person will make something that somebody likes. And then if they do anything different, they hate it. TikTok is my biggest enemy as my content creation game because I started making TikToks in 2020 and they were skits about Twitch streaming and Discords. And let me tell you, the TikTok algorithm is not friendly. If I do anything that is not exactly what I've been doing for the past 4 years on TikTok, the views tank, you know, and TikTok is the easiest way for people to find me, to go to my Twitch and everything else. So it's kind of tough. So I'm glad, honestly, like they have been inspiring me lately to try so many different contents. Like I swear BTS is the reason why I started vlogging, why I started the Patreon, like so many freaking things that I've never done before because they are just so inspiring that they're not scared to take risks. They do be on that flex, like life is too short. You know, the real army will stay and the fake army will go. Period. I love them
because it's always the same story.
Their journey is so
shows
inspiring.
Versatility. People say this is not what I expected from them. BTS released DNA, it sounds too Western.
What?
BTS released Boy With Love, it sounds too Western and it lacks meaning. BTS released Dynamite, it sounds too Western, it lacks meaning and it's in English. So the K-pop fantasy is broken. BTS released Butter, it sounds too Western, it lacks meaning, it's in English, and they only care about Western success.
I love that Boracity's literally calling out the only BTS songs I had ever heard. Like over the years, slowly, but never really like I'd hear it on the radio and I was like, yeah, Butter, light it up like dynamite. Okay, those are two different songs. Or like Boy With Love. And those are the songs that like some people hated the most just because it wasn't typical. But do you realize the reason, like, it's so good that it wasn't a typical BTS song? Because it broadened their audience so much. And now we get to hang out, which is cool.
BTS released Permission to Dance. It sounds too Western, it lacks meaning, it's in English, they only care about Western success, and it was not written by the BTS members. And now Jungkook releases 7, but it sounds too Western, it lacks meaning, it's in English, they only care about Western success, it was not written by a BTS member, and it's too explicit. But But like I said a million times already, BTS makes music that attracts completely different audiences, and this is not new at all. Some people say that Jimin's song was also mainstream pop, but at least 2 BTS members were songwriters and it has meaningful lyrics. But it looks like these fans are ignoring the past years of BTS's career. Wasted on Me, Dynamite, Savage Love, Butter, Permission to Dance, and Bad Decisions were targeted at the Western general public. While still releasing the regular hip-hop, pop, and R&B songs, BTS promoted one song with the purpose of being the mainstream song that can actually get recognized in Western media like.
And that's so smart. Like, they're still giving 90% of their music to like their OG fandom, like the things that they know their fans like, but they're also like, hey, let's put one song out to see if we can captivate like the westernized world. And then the other fans like, no, how dare you? You're changing. You're sellouts. Like, dog, it's one song. Freaking calm down. Take a seat and start dancing. Smooth like butter, like criminal under oven.
Like Billboard and the Grammys. Once again, they do this all the time. While continuing their meaningful Korean discography, BTS has released an English project for Western audiences and a Japanese project for Japanese audiences.
Whoa.
So I don't know why this is suddenly a surprise. And Jungkook's global promotion worked. 7 has been the #1 song worldwide for weeks, and I won't be surprised if it's nominated for American award shows. And this makes a lot of sense.
It should
Think about
be, was
BTS's
it?
old competition, mainstream hip-hop based duets with explicit lyrics. While it's easy to judge these songs for being too explicit or meaningless, the truth is that this is what the general public listens to, and a
Yes.
song doesn't have to be clean or have multiple layers of meaning to be a good song. Actually, there was one time when an interviewer had the same criticism for one of the songs competing with Dynamite back in 2020, but BTS disagreed with the interviewer and defended the song.
Aww.
네,
WAP에게
네,
왜?
네. 가능할지.
아니 그거 그냥 댄스 챌린지로 유명한 거지. 별거 아니에요. 노래는
아닙니다.
So just because a song
Aw.
is explicit, that
They said, Cardi, we love you. Don't let these weirdos gaslight our conversation. I love RM. He will always swoop in and be like, no, we don't represent that. We like Cardi B. I love
doesn't
it.
mean that it's bad or dirty.
당신을 엿먹이는 것과 당신을 사랑하는 것은 같은 것이 아닙니다. 서양 아티스트로서 더티 버전을 만드는
He
이유는
read
그게 왜
that.
더티 버전이야? 그게 왜 더티 버전인데?
Yes, King.
설명을 해봐.
He's so hot.
버전인데 그냥 솔직한 거잖아. 뭐 그렇게 느껴졌다면은 뭐 어쩔 수 없지만 어떻게 보면 나이가 몇이냐 내가.
Literally, he's like, oh, this man really was saying, really, how old am I now? I'll be smashing. Okay, let's just get out of the way. I'll be smashing. I can sing about smashing, and that's it. And like, period. Like, I'm in my late 20s. Like, what the heck? Why does sex have to be such a negative thing? Like, we all need to be a little more sex positive. We need to speak about it more, get people, because that promotes like safe sex, all that stuff. Like, I think it's amazing.
27인데 나이 먹으니까 이렇게 노출이 있는 촬영을 또 하게 되네요. 또 계시겠지만
7 is actually the perfect song for today's pop. It has a female rapper as a featured artist, and Jungkook's pop voice makes the song fresh, modern, and the perfect adaptation of the typical modern mainstream song. Despite some people's beliefs, I see the care of a regular BTS project in this song too. It's well produced, polished, and not the typical lazy song done exclusively to pull people
Literally,
into
yes,
streaming.
period.
Whether Jungkook decides to make a full album in English targeted at a Western audience like Butter, a self-produced Korean album like Map of the Soul 7, or a mix of both like Jimin's Face, I'll support because they are experimenting with their solo careers and finding their personal sound and target audience. So once again, this solo project was successfully recognized by its desired audience.
Slow test.
The last BTS member to debut as a solo artist is V with his album Layover.
he was the
These promotions
last.
have started not long ago, but we can already see what kind of audience Taeyong is promoting to. However, complaints by solo stans were out before the album was out. They claim that the label is purposefully not doing any promotions and that Taeyong is doing everything himself by sharing his projects on social media.
What?
This idea that HYBE is constantly trying to sabotage the artist that brings them the most money is
Literally,
pretty silly.
are people
But it's funny
good?
how it's always the solo fans who complain about favoritism. Just like every BTS solo project, we need to understand and accept that their music is different. Layover is very different to all of the BTS solo projects, so the promotions are going to be very different as well. Just like most of V's music as part of BTS, Layover is R&B with elements of soul and pop. Therefore, the performances and interviews will fit the promotions for an R&B project. So don't focus on every mainstream promotion Taeyeon didn't do. Focus on how he is choosing alternative mediums for promotion.
For me, like the way V is promoting is kind of similar to RM's. Like you're kind of just trying to target a very specific audience. Like V feels like he's just trying to like find people that are really about the vibes, chill music, like that style of music. And there's a huge audience for that.
To start, Taeyeon released 5
I have a wedgie
different
and
music
it's so bad right
videos,
now.
one for each song of the album. This is already huge. The maximum number of music videos a BTS member has released for one album is 3. A pre-release, a main release, and a follow-up. But Taeyeon has 2 pre-releases, a main release, and 2 follow-ups.
Damn, no wonder he wasn't going ahead promoting, doing a bunch of interviews. The man was exhausted.
A new strategy that I wanted BTS to try
so
for
many
a while.
music
Think about
videos.
these popular albums. Their promotions included
Billie
music
Eilish scared
videos
me there.
for multiple of the album's songs. This prolongs the artist's promotion schedule and it helps each song of the album become popular, not just one song or 2. So if we concentrate on this R&B project's promotion strategy, let's think about every door Taeyeon opened for himself by releasing these many music videos. His debut performance was not at a Western show or a K-pop show or a festival. It was on a new Korean music show that slows down chart competition by announcing an artist of the month, not a song of the week, which usually exhausts the artist and the fandoms. This show is also more personal than a festival or a Western TV show. So for this kind of calm album, this debut stage feels right. On K-pop shows, artists normally perform 1 or 2 songs, 3 being the maximum number of performances. But this specific K-pop show let Taeyeon perform 4 of his songs at once. Why am I mentioning this? Because the only reason Taeyeon was able to perform his entire album on
the fact that I did not know that V had a Pomeranian, because I have 2 Pomeranians, makes me so mad. Like this man, once you're a Pom lover, you're never not a Pom lover.
K-pop TV shows was because he released music videos for the entire album. For Inkigayo, he performed the main single Slow Dancing and Rainy Days. For Mnet, he performed Slow Dancing and Love Me Again. For Music Band, he performed Slow Dancing and For Us. And for N-Pop, he performed Slow Dancing, Love Me Again, Rainy Days, and Blue.
Wow.
It's genius. Taeyeon was able to promote his entire R&B album on K-pop TV shows. This is the first time an artist has done this successfully. But it doesn't end here. This is the first time an
What the heck is this dog doing at this show with him? I'm gonna die.
artist has
What's
done
his
this
dog's
successfully.
name?
But it doesn't end here. Taeyeon did not only choose this new K-pop TV show with less than 60,000 subscribers as an alternative medium. He also was one of the first artists to perform on the new series Tiny Desk Korea. This is a new show part of NPR's Tiny Desk concert series, which features only South Korean artists. But Taeyeon's performance was released on both Tiny Desk Korea and NPR's Tiny Desk concert. So he is, in a way, promoting his Korean R&B album to a global audience. Finally, Taeyeon became the first member to promote in Japan. This is also very smart because if there's any country with a big market who would listen to an R&B Korean album, is Japan, the second biggest music market in the world. These interviews and performances helped Taeyeon show his warm and soulful personality to an audience that is more likely to consume this kind of project. His personality is also reflected on the style of photo shoots and the 3 physical albums he wanted to release. These music videos, teasers, interviews, and media articles are planned, organized, and shared not only by V, but also by HYBE and BTS on all of their social media platforms. If you expect Taeyeon to have the numbers of pop releases or the type of promotions of the hip-hop releases, you are crazy because he never intended to promote to those audiences. For an R&B album, Layover is huge, and this BTS solo project is successfully being recognized by its desired audience.
Period. Like, That's why you can't compare. Like, obviously, some members are going to do better than other members, but they can't control that some genres of music are more popular than other genres of music. Like R&B, like even how, who made a song with Anderson .Paak? Oh my God. It wasn't Jungkook, was it? Jimin? No. Anyway, somebody made a song with Anderson .Paak. J-Hope, I think. Like even his music is not good. Anderson .Paak's music is not going to do as well as like Miley Cyrus. That's just the way it is. And that's okay. But like Anderson .Paak is going to have devoted fans and still be extremely successful to people that listen to that type of music. Like, why would you just force these dudes to make pop music because it's what gets the most views? Like, you got to stop valuing their worth based on the views and the likes that they get, and value it more on like the impact that it has on the audience that they're trying to get at.
Let's not forget that although BTS are on their era of solo music, they are still releasing music as a group. After the solo promotions started with J-Hope, BTS promoted their song Run BTS. They released The Planet, an OST song for an animated film, and they released Take 2 as part of their 10th anniversary celebration. Just like every other solo project and group project, these songs have different sounds, so they have different audiences, so they have different promotions. Run BTS is a song that is friendly to K-pop audiences. It's fast-paced, it has a choreography, and it shows a ton of energy. So they released a dance practice, performed it at their Busan concert, and released a lot of TikTok videos.
I've
with
never
K-pop
heard these
artists.
songs.
The Planet is a song for an animated series about a young idol group with superpowers. So the genre is pop and the style is simple but energetic. The music video and promotions are all related to the show, and they have a younger audience in mind. Take 2 is the classical letter song for ARMYs. It was written and produced by BTS members, and it has the classical BTS sound when it comes to slow pop, R&B, ballad songs. Like I mentioned before about V's project, this style of songs actually work pretty well on Japanese audiences. So it debuted at number 6 on the Billboard Japan Hot 100 with no music videos, remixes, or anything. But it's pretty clear that the main audience for this song is ARMY. So it charted well on pretty much every global chart.
ARMY goes hard!
Every one of these songs had the right promotions for each of their audiences. We need to see the solo projects and their promotions like this too. Maybe for some, this analysis of each solo promotion was unnecessary and obvious.
Not
but
for
I
me.
had to do it because I received so many messages by ARMYs who don't consider themselves solo stans, being confused about why some members had quote-unquote more opportunity.
So there's group stands and solo stands? Really? What am I, both then, I guess?
Than others. Some were genuinely confused by Jungkook's explicit lyrics, RM's minimalistic promotions, and J-Hope's lack of physical albums. So I hope I helped calm the confusion at least a little. ARMYs need to accept that BTS are real multidimensional artists. They are 7 artists with different visions, styles, and journeys in their music. Of course, their promotion schedules are going to be different. Sure, ARMYs are the main audience listening to their solo projects, but the BTS members are going to perform and accept interviews on the shows that they feel the most comfortable showcasing their music. Don't expect the global BTS style of promotions for every solo project and cry when that doesn't happen. Think about the sound and their personalities individually. Their solo projects align with the solo songs they had on BTS albums. So accept the BTS members as the multidimensional artists they are. Trust them and their decisions, especially in this solo era.
잘 이겨나가고 여러분과 또 행복하게 공연하고 음악 만들고 할 거니까 호석이가 얘기했던 것처럼 부디 믿음을 가져주시길 바라겠습니다.
Literally. Oh. So freaking true though. Like, Boracity videos are so good. I just feel like they just say everything exactly that it needs to be said in such a respectful way. Like for me, if I had all the information that Boracity has, I'd be like, can y'all stop? Can y'all stop hating on them for every little thing and just let them be artists? Like, that's basically what Boracity was saying in all of this. And it's so true. Like, if you truly respect and love an artist, you're going to have to let them go through some growing pains, some changes and stuff like that. And if you're a real fan, you're going to be so appreciative that you're even along for the journey. Honestly, like, it's so cool to watch people grow and evolve and blossom into who they're meant to be. But I love that you can really tell that each member kind of did what they wanted to in terms of like promoting. And I feel like each member, what they did suited their style and suited them so well, because the worst thing that I can imagine in their position is probably doing all these interviews that they hate, like RM being forced to be on these interviews where they don't even care to ask about his music. They're like, what shoe size do you wear? Like, who cares? So RM choosing to do like really in-depth interviews, like, it's so suited to him. Jimin choosing to do more of the funny ones. V choosing to do more promotions where he gets to sing all of his songs and like just show his actual talent and his art. Like, it just feels right. So I love that. I can't believe people were actually confused. I guess I can understand the confusion on like thinking that Big Hit is for some reason like sabotaging their members, even though like what Boracity said, like, why the heck would Big Hit sabotage the people that make them the most money, period? But it is kind of weird to see like each member getting different promotion styles, but they really broke it down in such a great way that's like, it's because that's what suits them. And we don't want the boys to burn out. So we're just on for the ride. I love it. What a great video. Man, shout out to Boracity for always speaking straight facts and straight fire. I seriously love their videos so much. I think I've only seen like 2. This should be the 3rd one now. And they're just so informative and they do such a good job. But I am going through the comments of the video now and I love our like real ARMY's energy. And I don't know if that's mean to say like if there's like fake ARMY, but there probably is in the world. But I love this comment. I don't trust fans who don't trust BTS. You don't have to trust the company, but at least trust BTS. They're in control. They have shares in the company. They built that company from the ground up. They're not being manipulated and they are most definitely not competing against each other. They care about the music. They take leading roles in planning promotions and concepts. They're not powerless like dolls or other idols or like some fans want to believe. Like, literally, do y'all realize if I feel like BTS cares so much more about ARMY and their music at this point than whatever company they're signed to, and Big Hit knows that. Big Hit has given them such creative freedom since the beginning of the BTS journey. And like, obviously they all re-signed with Big Hit, what, like a year ago or 2 years ago now? Like, Big Hit knows that if they lose out on BTS, like come on, like that's a big hit they would take. That's low-key funny. So why would they like have so much control over the way they promote or over the songs they sing or things like that, the genres that they participate in? They wouldn't. You can tell that every member has such freedom in everything that they do. And that's why I love Big Hit as a company as well. They slap. There was another comment. Oh, this person commented, also, I can imagine them discussing about how boring it would be if all 7 of the members did the exact type of promotions. Like, they are so real for that. The people that were confused why the members were getting different treatment from the company really would be the first people to complain if each member did the exact same talk shows, did the exact same interviews, the exact same music videos per song. Like, dude, that would be so freaking redundant. It would be so awful. Like, I am so happy I joined as a baby ARMY at this point in the career, because to me, everything makes sense. Like, to me, it's so cool to see like a group with such individuals within the group, you know, like you end up loving each of the members as their own person and not just like as a group. And I think that's a big reason why I'm so thankful that Jungkook brought me into this group, because I had heard BTS songs over the year. But in the westernized world where I grew up, you don't listen to a BTS song or like a K-pop song. I'm sure some people did, but I'm sure a lot of people hear BTS and they're like, oh, another boy group. Like, you know, like I never got into One Direction. I never really got into Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. Don't come for me. So for me, when I heard a boy group, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I just lumped them all together. Now, knowing when I found out Jungkook was in BTS, I was like, wait, what? And I had to learn about BTS. I had to start this ARMY journey. And now with the solo journey, I love diving into their solo journey so much as well. So I just think it's so freaking cool the way that the stars stars have lined up for me and for us in this journey. It's just been so much fun. But man, that video was so good. Again, I'm sorry if I wasn't like talking too much during the video. I just like, I had to input that information because I feel like that this video was just so beneficial to my army journey 100%. But oh my God, I'm just going to keep yapping. So I love you guys so much. If there are any other Boracity videos that you want me to watch or react to, please let me know. Suggest them down below. I would love to take a look into it. I know y'all have been suggesting the discography video. I will definitely be getting to that one. It's a little bit longer. I think that one's like an hour. And most of the BTS content I'm watching right now are about an hour. And I'm just one girl, you know? I'm just one girl with terrible time management. So yeah, my reactions usually take a long time. But I promise you, I will get to that one. But let me know if there's any shorter ones you want me to react to. That might help. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, please don't forget to drop a comment, a like, and subscribe so we can keep hanging out every day. Check out all my socials. I stream 5 days a week on Twitch. I post on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I have a Patreon if you want early access to videos or special bonus content. Go check out my Patreon. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me all the time. Thank you for being so cute and nice to me. Also, shout out to y'all for showing the vlog mad love. That was so freaking sweet. I love you guys so much. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye, friends. I'm outies. I love you.